Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. Guess what I'm at? I'm at the Toyota. Little bit of weight reduction. Stick around. Well, today's the day. I'm going to turn around and limb this puppy. Time to get started on it. I've been itching to start on this car, so it's time to get going. I want to go around now and just have a quick look at all her door seams. Make sure I don't overlook anything. Everything looks good. So when I go to put it back together and I realize that something's not fitting properly, it's not because it wasn't like it in the first place. Right? A lot of times, a lot of these old cars were hit, and you could tell the door seams, all that was all drove out of whack. So, nothing to worry about finding out the bottom of that one, eh? Original paint on this car, which is pretty neat. I'm going to put the GoPro on there now and just start hauling it apart. And I got a couple of days now to get this done. I'm hoping to have this completely limbed. The front chopped off it, all the bottom cut out of it, and everything put away. So, and then make up a little platform or something for the body, for a shell of it to roll around on. Get to play with some wheel and tire combinations and see what it looks like with the wheels and underneath it. Time to start cutting it. Well, there's a couple hours worth of work done to it. Front is off it. You see me taking this apart. Some things you noticed I was taking my time with. This here, rad support. I wanted to hold on to this because the radiator or the grill mounts to this and the headlights mount to this. I want to incorporate this back into the car for a number of reasons. I must have retained the front bolt hole for the fender, and of course these mounts here. I'm not worried about hood latches or nothing like that. I got an idea where the bumper goes now, so when I makes my frame rails, I can use this to go by the frame rails. That lower valance, that's thin. This thing here, she's thin. But all fixable. After all, this is a channel for fixing rust, isn't it? So this is a perfect candidate for this. But yeah, I'm amazed. These door posts are in really good shape. Even the lower rocker. They were bent up. Where usually all this is rotted out of a lot of cars. That's all solid on this. She's got a hole here in front. I don't mind that. That's really in the fender well bolted on. And she's got a bad spot here. I don't mind that. But I saved this rear bolt hole. I'm going to use this for mock-up, so I got some of the bolt the fender on. And I still retained the bolt holes down the bottom, so I can bolt the fender onto the car to get an idea where the front has got to go on the car. You'd notice the way the front come off, because some have asked, you know, why are you changing the front suspension? Well, that's obvious over here. Look. If you look at how rusty this thing was. Well, all it there was rusted out. Down through there. Coming up through there. As you can see, I never cut none of that off. That was all rusted out. All in along the bottom of the tower. All that was gone over there. Same thing. Just never broke it clear. You can see the way the chassis rails underneath her. Like, this car was not like mint by no means. It's mint in the minds that when I look at a car to make a Pro Street project out of, it is a good candidate. The car was never taken apart. All original panels. You see me on both the fenders. They're originally glued on along with the bolts. So, and they were easy to get off. But what blew my mind with this, as rusty as this car is, 95% of the bolts came out, which is strange for a lot of these import stuff, because the bolts are very soft on these and they snap off a lot. But, like, you know, the fenders, you know, bottoms of the problem there. She's got a few minor issues up here in front. Right? All can be fixed. The hood, as you can tell, has seen better days. But that's minor. We'll fix that. Right. Doors are heavy. I'm amazed with that. But that there is about 2 hours worth of work there now. I'm pretty pleased with my headway with it. I'm only taking everything apart in large chunks. The guy got the car off has one of these. I want to contact him and see if any of this stuff does he want to take it back. I hate throwing stuff out if I don't have to. If someone can find a use for it. He has one of these, so he might want the gearbox or, you know, control arms or something out of it. I'll let him make the call on that. I'll get a hold of him. He can come out and go through it all. But yeah, she's that's one way to take a motor out of the car, isn't it? Anyway, get back at it. Well, that came out pretty good. Pretty easy. All the interior, you can see what I'm up against here. The inner rockers, that's what caught my eye with this car. They're solid. They're really good in this car. A lot of this stuff over here usually is always gone on a lot of cars. And this one was good. So I'm going to turn around, I'm going to cut all this out here now. Get clear of this front section here. I'm going to work my way back through the car. I'm not going to touch the firewall or dash or nothing yet until I get everything cut out of it. I'll cut her in along here and across there, get clear of it, and then see what I got to deal with back here. The gas tank, I'm going to try to save that. That seems to be in really good shape. That's the filler neck out here, so it'd be a neat feature to have all that working. All right. Might be able to incorporate it back into the car, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's what the inside looks like, with everything hauled out of it. Time to chop it out now. 1 floor pan. Got out. Oh, look, meter bottom and sheet. This is what I was talking about, the rockers. Look, look at the rockers. Inner rockers. Really good shape. Up there now, there's some issues. Over on the other side. Hard to see with the light. But it's in good shape. I gotta work on now stripping out the gas tank and everything, taking everything out the back of it here. Clearing that out. So I can cut all that out. Well now, this is the trunk in the car. She's mint. This is what surprised me, look. Right across the back, that's where the trunk seal went. All this battle on there, look. And then she's got issues down here in the corners. A lot of cars had them over the years. Another one here. Lots of videos to be done on how to repair stuff. So I'll be doing a video on repairing all that. But the gas tank now, I got to unbolt that, take that out. And then I'm going to cut all this out. She's gone down here. All that was let go on both sides. Okay. So it won't take much to get the back out of this. I just got to figure out now where to cut it across here. Let the frame rails go. I'll work on that. But I'm getting pretty close to her. Getting her limbed out. So the trunk lid, I said it was mint. No. She's got issues here. Yeah, I lied. What am I going to do about that scrapper? No. More videos. Rush repair. Anyway, that's what I'm up against here now. Gotta cut all that out. You're all looking at this, my God, Tony, what are you getting yourself into? Why didn't you start with a better car? Where's the fun in that? I got a good car. Look, that's mint. That's all that matters. As long as I got decent rockers. On the inside. The outsides are bad, but that's minor. And look, she got a good roof. Or does she? Oh, Jesus, no she don't. Look at that. More rust repair. Well now. What's the other side like? Oh. It's got issues too. Okay, then that's it for that. I got the rear end out of it. I took the gas tank out earlier. That was half full of gas. I don't know how good it is. But the rear end, I just chopped everything out of it. I had to take the rear end out of it because there was no weight to the front of the car now, the way it is. And in order to support it, take the floors out, the rear end would have been too much weight in it. So I removed that to make life a lot easier. I got them 4 stands now and getting ready now to start cutting all this out of it. I'm working on working on saving them wheel tubs. Might be able to use the inner ones for in the car. I don't like squared off wheel tubs like you see in a lot of drag cars. I like doing a factory style wheel well in the back of these. And so when you open the trunk it looks like something. But that's it. So much I got done today. Rear bumper came off very easy, and that rear valance is amazing. There's no work needs to be done on that rear valance. That piece that went across there. That bumper extension or whatever you want to call it. probably a proper name on it. But she's got a few issues down there. And there's a little small one there, a little bit of weight reduction. But yeah, that's it for this one. I'm pleased with it. With my adventure for the day. Here's my pile of junk so far. Well, it's getting there. Another few hours now, and I should have all the bottom cleared out of her. And then I got to work on cutting the firewall out of it. Well, that's the entire back half out of her. And the wheel wells. Everything is cut out of her now. As you can see, there's nothing in her now. Right on back through her. Right across the back, all let go from the quarter panels. She's a little bit jiggy now. Look over. Yeah, no. That's a normal thing for these when you cut them up like this. But yeah, people might be saying, Tony, you cut way too much out of the car. No, I never cut too much out. This is all I was concerned about, was that being good. Look, she got really good rockers on her. Over this side here, there's a small issue on the back. Right there, she got some issues going on there, but it's nothing serious. But I can manage with that. You see me well as bracing across her because I knew this was going to want to open up on us on the bottom. I'm not concerned about bracing it up or anything. Fellas are saying I should put X braces and everything in it. I've done this before. So I'm going to use the doors for my alignment. When I put the doors on it, I'll use them to tighten everything up. And it's going to be welded to the roll cage when it's put in anyway. So I'll square everything up when it comes time for that. If you had to X-brace it, I'll be getting in and out of this car so many times. Fitment, putting an X-brace in it, it's going to be in the way. Framing it all up inside. You leave a lot of the glass and everything in it, and it gives it strength. Right. So that's right on back through it there. You might be wondering, again, thinking that I'm cutting up a good car. This car was far from good. Look. There's a chassis rail in it. There was a lot of rust in this car. On the bottom side of it, like her frame rails, where the wheel wells were on the back of it, all that was rusted out. You can see in through here holes. Huh? So you know she had her fair share of rust. I'm hanging on to the wheel wells. I got them cut out. I saved them because my plan is I'm going to reuse these. I want that look on the inside. I don't like the wheel tub look. Fellas put wheel tubs in cars and they tubs them. The outside will be a wheel tub. But the inside will actually look like a factory wheel well in the back of the car. That's my plan with them. You can see it here, like the way the wheel tub is shaped. It's got a nice shape to it. And everything from here out will be like it'll be a straight tub out the wheel well and down for tire clearances and whatnot. And then I'll just put this on piece on the inside. I got to widen it this way, because I got to widen the fenders. The more I'm sizing it up, the more I'm thinking I'm just going to widen the wheel well here. I was going to make a whole new arch, but the more I think about it, I'm trying to duplicate this piece here. I'm getting in with a lot of work. And be honest, I'm trying to do this car as, I won't say as quick as possible, but as easy as I can do it. I don't want to put a crazy amount of time into certain parts of the car when I could spend it somewhere else, right? Because there's so much work that got to be done to it. But anyway, that's the back cut out of her. Now I'm going to move on and I'm going to unbolt this dash and remove all that out of the car. And then I'm going to cut the firewall out of it. That'll be the last piece to cut out of the main shell. So let's get at that. Well, I made short order of that. I wasn't going to bore you with too much of that. There's a lot of bolts taken out and removing stuff. I'm going to cut this out of this now. That's all ready to cut out. The dash, I have a plan of reusing it. I want to reuse the dash, I want to save the plugs on a few things there. Just so, like for the heater and whatnot. I don't know if I'll ever put a heater in it, mind you, but I kept all that type of stuff. I'm going to have to repair it at the top of the dash. The pad is pretty bad, I don't know if you can ever buy them. But not worried about it, I'll repair it I suppose if I got to. But the dash is seen, top of the dash is seen better days. Look, I've looked at a few videos, and fellas have to repair them, so maybe I'll do the same. But the entire wiring harness, I got it hacked out of it. I don't need much of anything in this. I'm going to be rewiring this whole thing. The body of the car I'll do myself. For the engine harness, I'm going to use the Terminator X. I haven't gotten all that yet, so all that'll come in time. But for now, I just got to get the car as a roller. So, next thing now, the last thing I got to cut out of this now is that firewall. And that's it. Not much left, eh? Anyway, time to get in there and start cutting. And there she is, Firewall delete. Got it all cut out. My plan is, if you look up here, the plan is to have the firewall about right here, which is this panel here, coming down. I'm probably going to have to take more out of it, this section here, but that's good enough for now. I'll do it as I'm going. I'll trim it up because I still got to trim up all along the sides here and whatnot. All that got to be trimmed up. But I got everything moved out of my way. I'm maintaining the factory hinges. I want to keep them there, so I'll be reinforcing this here. But I want to have it so that I got lots of room for an engine to work on. I'm not concerned about wipers right now. I might even do the Euro wiper blade, one in the middle type thing. And run a rod over to this side and probably put a motor over here or something. But, yeah, we'll see. But I'm pretty pleased with my timeline of getting it all cut out. I come across a few issues. A few more, she's bad here on both sides. All minor stuff. Makes more content, welding stuff up. So, but I'm happy with what I have. What the issues I got, as soon as I look at them, I haven't figured out in my head how I'm going to fix them. So, I kept keeping the brake pedal assembly. I might reuse all that again. The steering column, I'd like to reuse that again. What else? And the little brake boosters over here. And I won't be using that because I'm going to put standard brakes on this. I have no real interest. But this here, I'm going to put this in inventory. Just look at the size of this. Look. Compared to a Tim's cup. It's amazing how small that is. I've never seen one as small as that. But there's my pile of carnage. Look. Plus I got the rear end up on the door. Just look at this mess I got to clean up. Oh my God. Look. Walking around the garage here. And you get over here and you go, oof. What am I going to do with that? Yeah. She had a bit of rust around her. I swept out most of it. I left it around the jack stands. I ended up with this pile over here in the corner. It's a fine chunk of mess. Look. All that come out of her. So now the fun begins that I got to clean up here. But what I'm going to do first, I'm going to clean up around the car here. I'm going to get it down and I'm going to see if I can make it a ride height. And I'm going to play around with the rear tires. Well, full day cleaning. That's all I got left. Garage is all back normal again. A few small pieces kicking around. And I got to play around a bit. Look. I played around with the ride height. Where everything's going to sit. I got a lot of things figured out. That's roughly her ride height there. I got figured out there now. The rear end, as you can see, it's very tight on the wheel wells. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it here. And I'm going to move it back about 1.5 inches on the quarter panel. So in other words, I'm going to cut it here, up here, and along here and down here, and move this section back. So it'll just be a little tiny band going up through here. That'll all be done. And that'll give me enough clearance. Because when you're running slicks, one of the big things you got to keep an eye on is right here. You need about 1.5 inches clearance here, because when you launch these cars, it goes in an egg shape and wants to push everything forward. So it tends to go really tight here. So you got to work on having a bit of clearance here. Back here, it really don't matter so much. But up here is always an issue. But I just mocked the fender on it, laid the wheel in place to see what it looked like. And then I took a LS block that was dropped off to me today. I got a couple of more now that were dropped off to me, and I just mocked that in place, roughly where it was going to be. And you can see where this was where the original firewall was. You can see how far back it is. And my game plan is an old drag racing thing, is line it up with #1 plug, which would be like that, see? Now you can move it back farther, yes, but I'm not getting too crazy with this, moving stuff back. I think I have enough forward of that to mount intercoolers and turbos and whatnot. So I think that's a good location. And that lines up pretty good with that section up here, coming straight down for a transmission tunnel. So all that's working out. So I played around. I had this lower than this, and I wanted it a bit lower, but it didn't look right in the wheel. I like where the wheel tires to now, and I want the car level. I don't want it nose down in the front or jacked up in the back. So this is our ride height that I got figured out, and that's the way the front wheel will be on the front of it. That's the way I want it to go. I assume the front be up, then down. I measured up the rear end, the wheels that I have here now. The distance from here to this flange is about 50 inches now with them tires where they are. And the rear end that I made is 49 inches. So I got enough room now if I want to run rotors, because I figured I was probably going to have to run drums. But I think I got enough room that I can actually put rotors on the back of this. I'm going to eliminate the lip right here on the top side. I've always done that. So out here, there will be no lip up here at all. Right here, there'll be nothing there at all for tire clearances. But I'll keep the lip on the front and the back just for cosmetic reasons. But other than that, had a bit of fun cleaning up her and getting everything set up. Just overall view over there. It's going to be a neat little car when it's done. So what I got to do now is I got to build a platform for this to sit on so I can move it around the garage. And now that I got the height figured out here, I went and brought in some 2x4s and 2x6s. And I found these old wheels that I had down in the basement, off an old carriage or shopping carts. So I'm going to take 4 out of that, 4 best ones. Bit of angle iron and some 2x4s and everything. And I'm just going to mock up a little frame that I can mount this on so I can roll it around the garage. I got everything put away here. All I got left is all the sheet metal that I need left here, all the pieces and parts that I want to keep. The garage is all cleaned up. I got it all put up there in that attic. And all the old parts I got pitched out on the side of the garage, and this is all I got left. That is all rust. Oh. How big that is. That all came out of that old girl. There's not much left in her now. Anyway, I'm going to go pilot that rack now and see if I can get something made from this here or that there. So there you have it. I got the platform made. I got her set up at ride height. Just a bunch of 2x4s, as you can see down there. And I got the caster wheels mounted on a couple pieces of angle iron. I'll show you that now in a sec. But I went ahead and I bolted the doors on it and mocked the fenders up, bolted the trunk lid on it. Just for curiosity to see all the body lines since I cut it up. The fender's only got 1 bolt holding it on. This is amazing, look. It's only 1 bolt. holding it up here, and even the seam looks good here. That's the only bolt that's in this. It's right there. But you're going to get a kick out of this. There's no bottom in this car. Look at the doors, huh? So you can't tell me that it's out of alignment by cutting it up. Trunk lid. Trunk lid is missing the rubber now, so it lays lower. That opens and closes good. Eh? Oh, no bottom in her. And this door over here, same thing. And the fender gap. Ooh, look, aluminum engine. I'm gonna go with that. But yeah, anyway, the platform, all I went and did, as you can see over here, is I got a piece of angle iron screwed onto the 2x4s, with the caster wheels are bolted onto the top of it. And that's just screwed onto it at an angle like that. This platform was laid on top of it, this one here, and I just notched it out for the height that I wanted it, so that it falls into the rocker panels. Get out of my light here. See? And it just lays on top of that. And she rolls around on that right easy. See? Not going to move it there now because I got her all set up for the look, right? Just come to me, I just realize something that someone's probably going to ask me is how many cutting wheels did I take to cut this up? I'm willing to say it took me probably 45 cutting discs to cut this up. And I buy them a pack of 50 for like $25, so it wasn't that bad, that expensive to see how much I cut everything up out of it. And the cutting wheels itself, I was going to get a end of a plasma cutter, and a few months ago I was going to order a plasma cutter, but the more I thought about it, I said I'll just go out and I'll cut it up and see what it's all about. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So anybody starts wondering about all the cutting wheels I went through, yeah, I went through about 45 or so. I'm pleased with it. It's been a good weekend. I got more done than I expect to get done. I can take this now and I can put it over in the corner of the garage out of my way and haul it out every evening and pick at it. I got her set up now, so I can figure out all my front and rear suspension now with because I got her set at ride height. So I can figure out the height of my rear rails, where they got to go, my cross member, the front rails. I can set up the front suspension. That'll be another thing. I got that right here. That's the cross member I'm starting with. That's a Pinto cross member. That's still the chassis rails, never got to the Pinto. But that's what I'm starting with there. For the front end, I got all the suspension and everything upstairs. So I'm going to put that all together, mock it up and lay it in front of it and set it all up so I'll know where the chassis rail got to come forward. But no, I'm very pleased with it. And it's heading in the right direction. There was a lot of questions answered today on what kind of issues I was going to have and run into. So all them were answered, and there's no like, oh, this is not going to work or that's not going to work. Everything seems to be set up and working good for me. I'm happy with it. So I'm going to leave this one here. I'm going to probably do some metal work on this car now, bit by bit, start welding up some of the patches on the main shell before I get into the chassis and the frame and stuff. I got to clean up all inside anyway, where the rockers and that too, all that got to be cleaned up. So that'll be on the next one. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Wasn't much in the way of tips on this one, but it was a fun little project. Something a bit different. So until next time. You know what I had to do it. You gotta get in your project and make car noises, don't tell me you never tried it.